So I was looking at One Breath at a Time today, which we started going through on uh, March 16th of 2020, and reached I guess we call it the penultimate section called Breadth of Practice Daily Mindfulness. After that, there's a little section, that's the end of step 12. And then there's a little section called Back to Step 1, which is kind of like keep coming back kind of section. And then there's a little afterward now in the newer edition that I wrote for the newer edition. and so that'll be it for this book. So that'll be the end of my class. No more classes. No, that's a joke. Don't listen to me. I would never abandon you. I mean, I might die but that's not abandonment. That's just dying. So in my mind, I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could stretch this out till March 16th? Because then it would be 2 years of going through this book. But, that seems like a pretty artificial thing to do. We'll just see what happens. But I'm thinking that probably after this, I'm going to start working with my daily reflections book, because that kind of gives us something fresh to work with each time. And I'll, go off on my various digressions at times as well. But this last section, Breadth of Practice, Daily Mindfulness, we've just followed up the section called Breadth of Practice, All Our Affairs, which I used as a sort of jumping off point to go through the Eightfold Path. And we just finished that the other day, although we're never finished with the Eightfold Path, but, for now. And so when I looked at this daily mindfulness, I immediately thought of Thich Nhat Hanh and kind of got out a couple of his books. And so I might spend, well, at least this evening, I won't make predictions about the future. I think I'm going to kind of work with some Thich Nhat Hanh teachings, which I've mentioned before, have been really re-inspiring me, a teacher who was really important for me 30 years ago. And in a way, I kind of put him aside, not in any negative sense, but just in the way that we keep kind of looking at different teachers and different teachings. And so I've been feeling really drawn back to his work, which actually started before his recent passing, but seems like a good time to be really going back to his teachings a little bit and drawing on that really, really rich tradition that he established. And because so much of it is about daily mindfulness, it fits very well with this final section of One Breath at a Time. All right. So let's sit back and do some meditation, some, formal meditation. In the spirit of Thich Nhat Hanh, we don't want to really separate our sitting meditation from the rest of our lives. But this a formal practice helps us particularly to develop stronger concentration and to kind of lay a groundwork for the daily mindfulness. So settling into your posture, you can close your eyes or just lower your gaze. Relaxing the shoulders, softening the belly, letting the breath move deeply into the belly. taking some time just to kind of scan the body, soften any areas of tension. It can be helpful to relax the jaw. So as you feel the breath moving in and out, feeling the breath within the whole body. So we have a sense of the breath in the foreground and awareness of the body at rest, sitting or lying down, kind of a background awareness. Noticing your felt experience right now, the feeling tone or mood that's present. Might be quite subtle, or it might be very obvious to you. So we hold this awareness of feeling tone within this broader experience of breath and body, breathing in, breathing out. Sometimes just to get started, just to connect with the breath can be difficult if the mind is very busy. That sort of flow of energy in the mind that is difficult to interrupt even for a breath. Equally difficult can be the presence of some emotion that's troubling us, so that even as we breathe, there's a sense of constriction or pain in the chest, the heart. So these challenges and many others are really quite common. We're trying to meditate in the midst of our busy lives, maybe at the end of a busy week. And it's not so simple. It's not like the mind just immediately responds to the prompt of paying attention to the breath. So when those challenges are there, if we can take an attitude of kindness and acceptance towards them, that is, we actually turn toward the difficult thought or the difficult feeling and try to breathe with that, not trying to breathe it away, but allowing it and then holding it with kindness. It's almost like a shift in point of view, shifting to the point of view of the kind parent or friend who can hold us. That attitude of kindness that we can bring to our own pain, our own difficulty. And as we take this point of view of non-resistance, give space for whatever wants to be felt, whatever wants to be known. And then we might find that we can bring in the breath. The gentle rhythm of the breath. Moving with the feelings, with the difficult experiences. And before long, we may find that the mind settles around the breath and the difficult feelings recede into the background. Not that we're trying to force this to happen, but just allowing for that possibility. As the breath becomes more of a focus, as the mind is able to absorb into the breath, we can calm the body, calm the mind with the breath. Again, in a very gentle, sort of non-assertive way, just a gentle allowing the body to calm, allowing the mind to settle. If you like, you might bring a slight smile to your face, to your lips. This subtle turning up the corners of the mouth can actually bring a positive energy to the mind and body, and brighten the mental state. It's not something we want to force if it feels unnatural or there's resistance. But if it happens easily, allow that to support your meditation, the smile of the Buddha. All right. So, welcome, everyone. So, as I said, I wanted to talk about kind of use the last section of One Breath at a Time as a sort of starting point to explore daily mindfulness and through the lens somewhat of Thich Nhat Hanh. And just to put it a little bit more in the context of recovery, the idea of daily mindfulness really connects with the idea, first of all, of one day at a time, and of the kind of vigilance that recovery requires. We can't sort of afford to coast on our recovery or in our program. And I think there can be a tendency to kind of think, oh, I meditated, so like that somehow protects me for the day, or there's some magical impact of that, but then I don't have to make any more effort in my practice. I fell victim to that kind of thinking early on in my meditation practice before I got sober. I was doing these long retreats and thinking like that was where all the juice was, in the long retreats. And there's tremendous value in long retreats. There's no replacement for it. But it's a little bit like the two truths, the absolute and the relative truth. On retreats, it's like you're really kind of plunging in, trying to get deeply into concentration and insight. And outside of retreats, you can't get into those states. So if you start thinking that, oh, it's those states that are important, being really concentrated, walking really slowly, and eating your food really slowly, having these kind of feelings of great sort of opening, you get attached to that. Then it can seem like, oh, regular daily life, what's the point? I can't get anywhere. I'll just wait until the next retreat, and that's kind of missing the whole point, right? In fact, it's turning meditation into a drug, in a sense. Like, oh, it's just about the experience, and it's not about my life. It's about having some special experiences, which is a little bit, the whole, anyway, psychedelic movement. I won't talk about that. So daily mindfulness, which, it is really about finding ways to integrate mindfulness into your life. And I think probably the most important part of that is having a really strong intention to do it. Because it's hard to remember to be mindful moment by moment. And with the way our lives unfold, with busyness and interaction and work, and all the things that occupy us, there's just a tendency, so much momentum gets built up in our days that it can be difficult to interrupt that momentum, to say just, and it only really is a mental interruption. It doesn't have to be a physical interruption. You can continue to do whatever action you're doing, but just do it mindfully. And so, Thich Nhat Hanh, repeatedly suggests just noticing your breath. And there's this practice of just when you realize that you're not being mindful in the midst of any activity, to just pay attention to 3 breaths. And yeah, if you can physically stop, great. If you can sit down, that's probably even more supportive, but not necessary. To just it's an amazingly long time, 3 breaths, it's enough time to completely change the sort of flow of your mental activity, to interrupt it. And even if you get back on that flow quickly, every interruption is kind of undermining the stress producing aspect of it, so that you're carrying less stress with you. And it's sharpening and clarifying the mind. So there are kind of different approaches to this. Different suggestions like, notice like every time you walk through a doorway, or every time you're walking up and down steps, or, if you hear a horn beeping, call it a mindfulness bell. Or if you're driving a car and the car in front of you, the brake lights come on, consider that a mindfulness bell. And all of those are good things to kind of embed in your consciousness. But the main thing is just to remember to do it. Oh, wait. And that just requires, more than anything, a really strong intention. So just to read a few things from Thich Nhat Hanh. And I'll read it and then I'll talk about it. This is from Pieces Every Step. It's called 24 Brand New Hours. Every morning when we wake up, we have 24 brand new hours to live. What a precious gift. We have the capacity to live in a way that these 24 hours will bring peace, joy, and happiness to ourselves and others. Peace is present right here and now, in ourselves and in everything we do and see. The question is whether or not we are in touch with it. We don't have to travel far away to enjoy the blue sky. We don't have to leave our city or even our neighborhood to enjoy the eyes of a beautiful child. Even the air we breathe can be a source of joy. We can smile, breathe, walk, and eat our meals in a way that allows us to be in touch with the abundance of happiness that is available. We are very good at preparing to live, but not very good at living. We know how to sacrifice 10 years for a diploma, and we are willing to work very hard to get a job, a car, a house, and so on. But we have difficulty remembering that we are alive in the present moment, the only moment there is for us to be alive. Every breath we take, every step we make can be filled with peace, joy, and serenity. We need only to be awake, alive in the present moment. So 2 things. One is Does this make you feel bad about yourself because you're not doing this already? You know, so that's one of the things that could get triggered. This is, I'm speaking for myself here, that like, oh man. So no, throw that idea out. If you remember to be mindful once in a day, it's a huge shift. I have been really struck by how just occasional moments, not, 800 times remembering to be mindful in a day, 3 times in a day, that just that has a big impact on my mind states. So just, and, the thought, oh, I failed again or whatever, is just another thought. And it's just another way of not being present, basically, right? So, so there's that. So just my recommendation, try not to get into a comparing mind or judging mind around this. Now, the other thing is that I think, and I think this is one reason I sort of stopped reading a lot of Thich Nhat Hanh was, I started to feel like, oh yeah, sure, peace, joy, la di da, it's there's such a simplicity to it, and that at a certain point started to be like, well, it's too simple, and the truth is, it's that what he's talking about is simple, and there is this potential in every moment. It's not that you have to do some deep dharma reflection. Oh, everything is empty and everything is impermanent, and I'm going to die, so okay, now I can be mindful. It's very simple. One other thing I'll say, and then I'll read a little bit more. As I've been working a lot with this lately, I noticed today how I was actually getting kind of concentrated in my daily activities, and things got quiet to a point that I started to feel a little, I, um, like sort of bordering on sadness, like, and this is what I think is happening. We have to. One of the things to remember is that concentration, which is what was really happening, I was getting very concentrated, needs to be balanced with energy. And particularly for depressives, we have to be careful when it feels like you can feel yourself really getting calmed down and the mind getting quiet. And it's like, oh, this is nice. I can feel that I'm really settling. But if you get into sort of the energy gets too low, even though it's positive in the sense that the mind's not really busy, if there isn't sort of anything to brighten it, then this can turn into kind of a barren space. And this is very personal, again, coming out of my own experience, but I think it's a credible claim to make. And here's one of the things that makes me think this is built into the teachings. This is not just Kevin stuff. I've been working, as I've mentioned, with the Anapanasati Sutta, the Mindfulness of Breathing Sutta. There are 16 steps in that sutta. The first 4 are working with the breath, and it ends with calming the body with the breath. That's the 4th one. So right there, you've gotten to this place where it's like you're really meant to be getting concentrated and settled. The very next step is breathing in, I experience joy. Breathing out, I experience joy. And then the next step is breathing in, I experience happiness. Breathing out, I experience happiness. So immediately, although I've never heard anybody talk about this, I'm going to make this claim that there's immediately the Buddha is trying to balance the energy, the calming energy that's developed with the first tetrad. These are called these 4 steps. There's 4 steps of 4 in the sutta. The calming energy is immediately balanced with the brightening energy. Now, then after that, the next thing, there's joy and there's happiness, and these are all with breath. Then the next thing is breathing in, I experience mental activity. I'm looking at what's going on in my mind. Breathing out, experience mental activity. And the last one of that tetrad is breathing in, I calm mental activity. Breathing out, I calm mental activity. So now he's rebalancing, right? There's the calming of the body, then there's evoking energy, and then there's calming the mind. In the third tetrad, which is the mind states, the first one is breathing in, I'm aware of the mind. So this is really about being present for just the kind of spacious awareness, we call it. There's a lot more that could be said about it, but we'll just say we're aware of the kind of the mind as a space, as awareness itself. And the next one piece is breathing in, I'm gladdening the mind. Breathing out, gladdening the mind. So now, again, we're rebalancing, we're bringing energy back. That's followed by breathing in, concentrating the mind. So you can see that it's really important to balance these things. And this is another, I think, bias. I certainly know I have this bias. I think it's a bias in terms of the way meditation is taught, is there's sort of a bias towards calming and towards concentration, because most people, particularly in our culture, our minds are so busy that we need to do a lot of work to get calm, right? To quiet the mind. And that's maybe you never even get there. So you're like, I need to keep calming, right? And so, but the thing to know is that when that happens, it's not like an endpoint, that it's still, you still need to balance it. Now, the energy we're talking about bringing in is not the frenetic energy or the anxious energy that makes our mind spin out. It's a bright, we could call it spiritual energy. It's called piti and sukha, but piti particularly is the joy feeling that's kind of inherent to the experience. It's really taking joy in the present moment and joy in just being alive. So it's very much, that's the joy that Thich Nhat Hanh is talking about. And you see that he often talks about joy, even as he's talking about being calm, right? So just to see this, I think is very important, and something that we can check in with ourselves. Where am I right now? Do I need more calming, or do I need more brightening? And I don't think, as I say, I think we can miss the fact that sometimes we need more brightening, that because the obvious thing is, oh, I have to calm down because I'm stressed out, and that's the sort of most common challenge for people. So, let's see. I'll just read a little bit more. It's so clear reading him that the Anapanasati Sutta is kind of the thing that inspires him a great deal. So this is conscious breathing. There are a number of breathing techniques you can use to make life vivid and more enjoyable. The first exercise is very simple. As you breathe in, you say to yourself, breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. And as you breathe out, say, breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. Just that. You recognize your in-breath as an in-breath and your out-breath as an out-breath. You don't even need to recite the whole sentence. You can just use the words in, out, and out. This technique can help you keep your mind on your breath. As you practice, your breath will become peaceful and gentle, and your mind and body will also become peaceful and gentle. This is not a difficult exercise. In just a few minutes, you can realize the fruit of meditation. Breathing in and out is very important, and it is enjoyable. Our breathing is the link between our body and our mind. Sometimes our mind is thinking of one thing and our body is doing another, and mind and body are not unified. By concentrating on our breathing in and out, we bring body and mind back together and become whole again. Conscious breathing is an important bridge. To me, breathing is a joy that I cannot miss. Every day I practice conscious breathing, and in my small meditation room, I have calligraphed this sentence: breathe, you are alive. Just breathing and smiling can make us very happy, because when we breathe consciously, we recover ourselves completely and encounter life in the present moment. One more present moment, wonderful moment. In our busy society, it is a great fortune to breathe consciously from time to time. We can practice conscious breathing not only while sitting in a meditation room, but also while working at the office or at home, while driving our car or sitting on a bus, wherever we are at any time throughout the day. There are so many exercises we can do to help us breathe consciously. Besides the in-out exercise, we can recite these 4 lines silently as we breathe in and out. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Breathing in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Reciting this line is like drinking a glass of cool lemonade on a hot day. You can feel the coolness permeate your body. When I breathe in and recite this line, I actually feel my breath calming my body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. You know, a smile can relax hundreds of muscles in your face. Wearing a smile on your face is a sign that you are master of yourself. Dwelling in the present moment. While I sit here, I don't think of anything else. I sit here and I know exactly where I am. I know this is a wonderful moment. It is a joy to sit stable and at ease and return to our breathing, our smiling, our true nature. Our appointment with life is in the present moment. If we do not have peace and joy right now, when will we have peace and joy? Tomorrow or after tomorrow? What is preventing us from being happy right now? As we follow our breathing, we can say simply, calming, smiling, present moment, wonderful moment. This exercise is not just for beginners. Many of us who have practiced meditation and conscious breathing for 40 or 50 years continue to practice in this same way, because this kind of exercise is so important and so easy. Well, so you can do that right now, right? I mean, I've got this little screen in front of me and a lot of faces. I'm sitting here and I hear the water running upstairs. And I feel the earbuds in my ears. And I hear my voice rasping a little bit. And just breathing. When you listen to the Dharma, that's the practice. It's not to get some information that you can take somewhere else. It's to breathe right now, just be here and be present. What are you feeling? What's in your mind? What's passing through? Nothing to make of this. This isn't a test. This isn't a lecture to be remembered and, uh, spat back at the teacher at the end of the week when the quiz comes. This is just a practice we do together, to be together. It was, that day when Spirit Rock said, we're not going to be able to have a class in person. And I had been working on Zoom for another Dharma teaching. I thought, I can't not have like something going on. I'm not the most altruistic or generous person, but I just had to, just felt like, in my mind, it might have been, people are going to need this, to have something going on. But it was really, I am going to need this, and we are going to need this. We're going to need to be together. We're going to need to practice together. And it was just a way to keep us, awake and keep the Dharma fresh for us. It's so important to keep it fresh and do that together. And that's all this is, that's all this has been these 2 years. It's just a chance to hang out and be reminded to be present together, to reminded of the Dharma. So many of these days and nights over these 2 years, coming into my office and sitting here has been the thing that got me through the day. The thing that gave me something positive to focus on. I'm really grateful for Zoom. And I'm really grateful that there's some people who want to hang out with me on Zoom, so we'll see. Maybe we'll do some more Thich Nhat Hanh on Tuesday. We'll see. I don't know. That's so far away. So thank you all for hanging out. We got some time left. If anybody wants to chime in, ask a question, make a correction, share something, be happy to hear from you.
Hi, Kevin. It's Anne.
Hey, Anne.
Hi. That was lovely. It was so lovely hearing Thich Nhat Hanh and hearing you share, especially there at the end. Yeah, I was just in the meditation, the smile. It's really, for me tonight, it was really helpful. I really did feel a sense of brightening, a sense of without forcing it. When I first learned how to do the smile, it was very forced and I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable and I resisted it. Kept practicing it. And now it feels much more natural. And to sort of hold a smile or have a smile and relax my face at the same time, it feels really, really good. So it was a nice, especially in the evening when I feel a little tired.
Mm-hmm.
I really I feel the contrast
with
the smile. So
yeah,
thank you. Thanks.
I know it's a great innovation, and I really don't know where else it's shown up other than from Thich Nhat It's certainly where I first encountered it, and I've never really seen it in any suttas, although probably in there somewhere. But yeah, it's very striking, and to experience that shift. I remember being shocked and a little annoyed that it was so effective, because it seemed like, well, it can't be that simple. Again, like the simplicity of Thich Nhat Hanh can is deceptive. And it's like, but and for some reason, even though I do tend to be pretty cynical, for some reason, when it was presented to me, it was on a retreat, and it was just like, do this, breathe in, breathe out, and smile. It was just the phrases, slightly different from the ones that I read tonight. And I just did it. And I don't remember how the teacher presented the smile, because the teacher presented the lines more as just say these words, not so much like there was a line deep and slow, and he was like, well, you don't have to breathe deeply and slowly, just say the words. But what happened was that, like, by repeating deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, there's one more, but present moment, wonderful moment, all of everything that was in the words started to manifest, without really, because when you calm down, and it's a very effective concentration practice, when you start to get concentrated, all this stuff naturally manifests. There's a calming of the body, there's a calming of the mind, and there's a brightness. The piti is a natural thing that arises. But the smile, it's almost like the smile opens the door for the piti to come in. It's there. It's just the smile kind of invites it in. Otherwise, it would slip under the cracks eventually, but it might take a little longer for it to get there,
Yeah, that's a nice word, invitation. It is an invitation.
Yeah.
To arise. Yeah.
But I can totally understand having a resistance to it. Like, oh, you should smile. Oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm not some cheesy new age person, who's just going to wear crystals and think that smiling, everything's fine. Think positive, But it's just that it is that subtle smile. It's not a grin generally. It's just kind of, and it's so weird sometimes when I do it, and I go, and I just feel this foot. I'm like, what the hell? How did that happen?
I know.
Mainlining the smile, man.
Right. I hate to say my mother was right all these years.
I know, exactly. Exactly. God. Talk about resentments. Jeez. Dolores, looks like you have your hand up high.
Back to we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Thanks, Kevin. I enjoy listening to you, especially talking about Thich Nhat Hanh, because I really love him. It's a year. This January was a year that I came across him accidentally.
Yeah.
And then he talked a lot about the Sangha. And then I went looking for a Sangha group and found you and so forth. And it's been a year. Now, after many, many years of practicing the steps, and I've been meditating since 82, many different ways, respect every single one of these people that taught me many, many things, all stepping stones. But it wasn't until I began meditating with him that my whole life changed, absolutely changed. And there's so many, I listen to him every day without fail. It's 1 year, every single month. He's the first thing I listen to. And I can hear the same thing over and over again. And he uses the word practice a lot. and how important practicing is. And it makes me think of the 12-step program. Practice these principles in all our affairs.
Right.
And I'm powerless over not having those principles a good deal of the time, but I can practice them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I catch myself being dishonest, I could practice honesty,
Right.
whatever, and all the principles. Well, he's talking the same thing about this breathing in and breathing out.
Yep.
We can't just read about it in books and talk about it. We have to practice it. We practice it. We practice it. And I heard a story that I'm going to tie into what I'm saying years ago. You might have heard it. A man's walking through New York City with a violin, and he came up to a police officer and said, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" And the policeman said, "Practice, practice, practice."
Right.
And didn't he talk about this week? I still talk to him like he's alive.
Right.
Well, he said that there's no life, there's no birth and death.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel closer to him in his death than I did when he was alive. Anyway, I don't want to go off on that. He said in the breathing in and breathing out, just this week, I don't know how old the tape is. He said, when you breathe in and you breathe out, picture yourself as a violin. And as you breathe in, there's one stroke. And as you breathe out, is another stroke. You play beautiful music for people, for everyone. And of course, with the smile, I want to mention that it came natural just by listening to him.
Yeah.
So many factors that you have to know. I think, like he talks about the seeds, the lower part of the mind, the good seeds, the bad seeds. It's just like that choice that they talk about in the 12-step program. I never understood the choice until I start listening to Thich Nhat Hanh, that we have a choice whether to use the negative seeds or the positive seeds. So I think all the information, I can go on and on about the many points that he makes me smile.
Yeah.
Hearing it over and over, it puts a smile on my face. And I do meditate several times a day. However, the breathing in and breathing out, what he's given me is whenever a problem comes up, when I am full of stress, I just have to breathe in and out. I just have to sit there, breathe in and out. And it's miraculous that I can be objective to it. What's going on? And I just had to say all that because the practice, like in the 12-step program, the 11th step, I lost these two words. It says, to improve our conscious contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're telling us in the 12-step program, improve your prayer and meditate, improve it. And I'm seeing this year that he was a way of improving it for me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dolores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that half smile. I love it. I've heard you say it. I've heard him. I'd love to hear more about that. If you could comment a little bit more about it. I love it.
What can I say? Smile. No, I think it's just, to me, it's done not even with some expectation of results. And I'm aware that there are times when I need to release the smile. Sometimes it gets, it's actually, there's a tension that builds up. And so it's sometimes, it's again, this balancing, energetic balancing, because the smile raises energy. And if the energy gets too strong, then you actually release the smile and try to settle the energy. So it's really, in very practical terms, just a tool. It doesn't have meaning, in my mind, it's just a tool. And if I think of it as a tool, then I don't have I don't get into this question about, oh,
Yeah.
what am I smiling about? Or what's so great? Or I need to smile to show that I'm really happy. But, it just all of that, again, I'm just, voicing my own sort of places that my mind goes, is just to keep it simple and think of it just the same way I think of the breath. I don't think of the breath as having meaning when I'm practicing mindful breathing. I just think of it as, oh, this is a way to be present and to be calm and to awaken the mind. And a smile, oh yeah, that's uplifting, that's energetic, that energizing, and it's useful.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's any more I can say about it than that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mhm.
Well, we've passed the 1 hour mark, which is all that I promise for you. I'm always happy to give more. Well, not always. Generally happy to give more. But I think probably people want to get on with their. There's no Warriors game until Monday, so there's nothing much to do tonight. I do recommend. I've discovered a guy who analyzes their plays. If you want information about that, I can pass that on. But for those who are not sports buffs, probably don't care. Anyway, yeah, I hope maybe we can kind of make this a recurring theme to really try to practice mindfulness together, and for all of us to try to bring more intention with, really specifically with the breath, not to just be like, oh, I'm washing the dishes, but like really feeling the breathing throughout the day, and start to really deepen our practice together this year. So that's my suggestion for now. Oh, I should. Oh, am I? Oh, yeah, I'm doing something on Sunday. Thanks for putting that in there, Angela. Sunday morning at 10 a.m., the Buddhist Recovery Network. I don't think, do I have it on my website? I don't think I have it. I'm pretty bad about my website these days. But if you go to the Buddhist Recovery Network website, which is just buddhistrecovery.org, I'm sure they'll have a link. So I'm actually going to talk about the Anapanasati Sutta on Sunday and try to go through it and relate it to recovery, which I won't have time to do that thoroughly, but it'll be a start, because that's going to be a theme this year. And at some point I might, once I have done more work with it, I might present some kind of a class on it. But if you're around Sunday morning and you want to see more of Kevin, come and drop in on that. There's another message. What does it say? Mindful. Oh, there's the whole description of the talk. Mindfulness of breathing is both the most basic meditative tool and an advanced path to enlightenment, as described by the Buddha. Kevin will discuss the range of uses of mindful breathing, from simple stress reduction to the higher insights and their value on the path of recovery. Awesome. I can't wait. I wonder what he's going to say. Uh-oh. All right, you guys. Take care. Don't drink or use no matter what. Wear a mask. Stay healthy. And whatever else. I should stop telling
Thank
people
you.
what to do. Do what you need to do for yourself.
Warrior.